Okay, we will start the lesson now. So, what you have discussed in the last class, you have already started to discuss about the soil biology. To discuss about the soil fertility stages and the nutrient availability, and then
the role of soil organisms.
Okay. So what actually the soil organisms do in the soil? So basically, the soil biological property is influencing the both physical, chemical properties as well. Not only impact on the biological status of the soil or the soil fertility status, so it is mainly influencing the physical property of the soil as well, physical as well as the chemical property of the soil. Right? How it affects the soil physical property. So before that, what is the percentage of soil organic matter in the soil? What is the percentage? Volume composition of soil, can you all remember that?
5%.
Exactly, 5% of soil organic matter is present in the soil. So other 45% inorganic matter, and then 50%
soil, water, and soil air.
Soil, water, and the soil air. Right? So although it is present in the 5%, very little amount in the soil composition, it is very much important for the physical as well as the chemical properties of the soil. Right? So how it affects on the soil physical properties? So the biological property, how it can influence on the soil physical property. Any of you, please? Tell some physical properties, example for the physical properties.
Soil texture, structure.
Okay. How the soil texture affected by the soil organic matter or the biological property. Can we change the texture of the soil by any factors?
No, ma'am.
No. So we cannot change. Texture is the stable one, right? It's a constant property. We cannot change the texture of the soil by any other factors, right? So then what about the soil structure? So the biological or the organic matter can enhance the soil structure. Am I right? Will it crush the soil structure? So it will enhance the soil structure, right? Okay, then water holding capacity. What will happen to the water holding capacity? Increase. So you know that soil organic matter may be act as a sponge-like structure. Then it can absorb more water, and when the plant needs the water, so they may release the water to the plant. Right. So therefore, it is increasing the water holding capacity as well as the releasing the water when the plant needs. Right. So what will happen to the color? What about the color? If the soil organic matter is high in soil, what about the color?
Dark in color.
Dark?
Black.
Yes, dark brown or black color. So while looking at the soil color, we can tell about the soil organic matter. Right? So if the soil is a black or dark brown color, so we can tell that the particular soil is having the high amount of soil organic matter, right? So at the meantime, we can tell that the soil is having the high fertility. Right? So here you can see that it commonly accounts for the at least half of the soil cation exchange capacity. So what will happen to the cation exchange capacity? So we have studied the cation exchange capacity in the last class. So what will happen to the cation exchange capacity when the soil organic matter is high? Any of you, please.
Increases.
Increase. How? How it will increase? How the soil cation exchange capacity increase? According to your knowledge, please tell me.
Higher organic matter content will increase the cation exchange capacity.
Yes, how? That's why I'm asking how.
Due to high organic matter, the surface area increase.
Surface area increase. How the surface area increase? What about the charges then?
Negative charges increase.
Negative charges increase. So that will enhance the charges exchange. Right? So therefore the cation exchange capacity may increase. Right? As we discussed earlier, the stability of soil aggregates also may be increased. Right? And supply of energy and the bodybuilding constituent for the microorganisms. Right? So if the organic matter is high in the soil, so that will provide the energy and the other constituents for the microorganisms. So when the microorganisms grow well and develop their diversity in the organic matter, therefore the decomposition rate will increase. So it will ultimately create the humus level, right? So when the humus is high, so the humus may be act as the powerhouse of nutrients. So the humus, what do you mean by humus then? It is the ultimate product of any product of the decomposition. Right? So that is the humus. The humus is important for the soil fertility, right? It may act as the nutrient powerhouse and it will increase enhance the color of the soil. That will increase the water holding capacity again, right? So that's how the soil humus make the soil as the fertile soil, right? Right. Now we'll move. Sources of soil organic matter. Mainly, there are two sources. Generally, there are two sources. The original source is the plant tissues. Right? Here, the tops and the trees, shrubs, grasses, and other native plants may act as the primary sources for the plant tissues. Right? Here, the secondary sources are the animals. Right? So the primary source is the plant tissues or the plant materials, and the secondary sources are the animals. So how the animals act as the secondary source? As they attack the plant tissues and they contribute to the waste product and leave their own bodies as their life cycles are consumed. Right? So when they eat the plant tissues and they contribute to the waste product as well. Right? At the meantime, after the end of their life cycle, they maybe die and the dead bodies, the debris maybe comes to the again to the as the soil organic matter. Right? That is how the animals are acting as the secondary source for the soil organic matter. So again, these plants maybe take up the nutrients from the dead animals. So that is how it is cycling the nutrients there. Right? So here, the original plant source is the plant tissues, or the primary source is the plant tissues, and the secondary source is the animals. Right? Understand up to this?
Yes,
Now you have idea about what is soil organic matter and what is the percentage of soil organic matter in the soil and how the soil organic matter influence on the soil, other physical as well as the chemical properties. Right? At the meantime, what are the components or the sources of soil organic matter? Right? So decomposition of organic compound. So when the organic materials added to the soil, so that will undergo for the decomposition process through the what? Through the what? What is responsible for the decomposition? Hmm?
Microorganisms.
Yes, good. Microorganisms are responsible for the decomposition of organic compounds or the organic materials. That is how the organic matter is formed. So actually, when you look at about the definition for the organic matter, it is the decomposition product or the various stages of decomposition product is the organic matter, right? Organic matter may includes the various stages of decomposition products. So that is the soil organic matter, right? So the organic compounds vary greatly in their rate of decomposition in the different compounds. You may know that. So when you look at about the plant tissues, what are the components present in the plant cell wall? For example, when you take a plant material, what are the compounds present there? Cellulose is there. Hemicellulose. Pectins. Yes, good. Amylose. So if you take animal tissue materials, animal tissues,
Hygiene.
yes, collagen, hygiene,
Calcium carbonate.
okay. So here you can see these are the simple compounds which are present in the animal as well as the plant tissue. Sugars, as you said, sugars, starches is there, simple protein is there, crude protein there, hemicellulose, cellulose, lignin, fats, waxes, etc. These compounds are present in the organic materials, right? So there is a difference between the organic material as well as the organic matter, right? So these are the compounds which are present in the soil organic materials, right? So based on these compounds present in the soil organic material, the decomposition rate may be differ. Understand that sugars, starches, and the simple proteins, they may be easily degraded products. Okay, when these compounds are highly present in the soil organic materials, so that will easily degraded by the microorganisms. Why? Because the microorganisms can access these sugars and the starches and they consume the energy from that and they may proliferate there and they will start the decomposition product or decomposition. Right? Likewise, the crude proteins and the hemicelluloses are slowly degraded compared to the sugars and the starch. Right? And the cellulose, lignin, fats, and the waxes, they are very slowly decomposable materials. Right? So, for example, when you degrade the cellulose, what do you need for that? Good. Cellulase enzymes are needed, right? So, these cellulase enzymes, where we can find that one? Cellulase enzymes. Some kind of microorganism may have the cellulase enzymes. So particular microorganisms only can do the cellulose degradation. Can you understand that? Likewise, for all the material, some kind of organisms can only do the particular degradation, right? So for example, if you want to degrade the hemicelluloses, so we need to have the microorganisms particularly affect on the hemicelluloses. They may be produce the hemicellulase enzyme. Likewise, if you want to degrade the cellulose materials, so we need to have the organisms which has to produce the cellulase enzyme. Understand that? Right? Yes. So if these materials are present together in a particular soil, so the group of microorganisms needs to degrade the whole compounds. Right? Only one organism cannot do the degradation of these compounds, right? So there may be the group of organism has to do the decomposition. Then only all the materials may be degraded, right? So this is how based on the organic compounds, so the degradation rate may be differ, right? So here you can see again the sugar, starch, and the simple proteins. Sorry. They may be degraded very easily compared to the crude proteins and the hemicelluloses. They are slowly degradable materials, and the cellulose, lignin, and the fats. Lignin. So this is also the plant material. So it is very degraded, very difficult to degrade the lignin, right? So even there are very rare number of microorganisms they can produce the lignin degrading materials, right? Okay, in this order, the rate of degradation may decrease, right? And then now we'll see when organic tissues added to the soil, right? What will happen in the soil, right? Generally, three major reactions take place when you add the organic tissues or the organic materials to the soil. There are three main reactions take place, right? So one is the enzyme dioxide, water, heat as the major product. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Go to the question. 2020 AG032. 2020 AG032. Are you there? So definitely I will consider that you are absent today, right? As I said, the people are joining in the meeting and they are doing some other businesses there. So when I call the number, if they are not responding me, so definitely I will consider the people those who are absent, right? 2020 AG023.
Yes, ma'am.
023. Yes. What are the, please answering me now. AG023.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what are the importance of soil organic matter? Hmm? What are the importance of soil organic matter? Okay, no response. 2020 AG006. 006.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the importance of soil organic matter?
To provide the exchangeable ions to the soil so that plants can absorb that one.
Mhm.
And for the plant nutrition.
What else? 2020 AG026. AG026.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the sources of soil organic matter?
Mineral.
So what are the sources of soil organic matter? Just now we discussed, right? You are not in the lectures?
Yes, ma'am.
So now tell me, what are the sources? Zero 19.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the sources?
Animals and trees, plants, ferns.
So, so classify that.
Organic source is the plant tissues, and the animals are considered as the secondary
No,
sources.
I'm asking the classification. What is the primary and the secondary? Which is the primary source and which is the secondary source?
Primary sources are the shrubs, grasses. Secondary sources are their waste products.
Simply, the primary sources are the plant materials and the secondary sources are the animals. Understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
2020 AG154.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what are the sources? I don't know what you people are doing there. So I mean, you are not listening to the lectures, right? I hope that you're doing the same thing for all other lectures also. You are not. Huh?
Primary source animal.
Primary sources animals, and then secondary sources. 2020 AG002.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the sources?
Primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources, example plants. Animals are secondary sources.
How do you act as a secondary sources animals? Again, I'm warning you.
Animals are attacking plant tissues. So we can consider them as secondary sources. So they contribute their waste products.
Yes, this is important, right? The organic matter section is very much important. You can even expect one more questions from this section, right? So if you cannot understand this, it's very difficult to answer for the questions, right? So the question may come as a general thing. So you have to incorporate whole and you have to write, right? So for that, you should understand the section very well. Otherwise, you cannot incorporate or you cannot correlate everything and write. Right? Okay. Okay. Now we are talking about when the organic tissues are added to the soil, there are three general reactions take place. One is the enzymatic oxidation of materials. So that leaves the carbon dioxide, water, and the heat as the major product. Right? And then the essential elements of nitrogen, phosphorus, and the sulfur are released, or they may be immobilized by the series of specific reactions relatively unique for each element. You know that. So if the nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and the sulfur cycle, right? So here each reactions are specific, right? Nitrification, among nitrogen fixation, nitrification, denitrification. These are the specific reactions, right? Likewise, the phosphorus solubilization, sulfur oxidation. So these are the specific reactions. Through the specific reactions, these essential elements may be released from the organic matter, or maybe they may be immobilized. What do you mean by immobilized? What do you mean by immobilized?
Not movable.
Not movable. So you mean mobilized mean that can be moved. So immobilized mean that cannot be moved. Immobilized mean plant cannot take up the nutrient. Right? So this is not used by the plant. Right? So that is the immobilization. So what is the negative term for the immobilization? Don't tell that the mobilization. So the negative term is the mineralization or demineral. So the immobilization or demineralization. Right? Mineralization means the organic nutrients converted to the inorganic nutrients. So the inorganic nutrients may be easily taken up by the plant roots. So the immobilization means the inorganic nutrient may be converted to the organic form. The plant cannot take up that. Understand?
Yes.
Yes. And then the third reaction is the compounds resistant to the microbial actions are formed either from the compounds in the original plant tissues or by the microbial synthesis. There are two major things may happen here while the compound formation. One is the compounds may be formed from the original plant tissues, right? Or they may be formed from the microbial synthesis. because the microorganisms are important for the degradation. So when the microorganisms attack on the soil organic matter, so they may be produce the new compounds from the original material. At the meantime, so the microorganism itself can produce some synthetic materials. So that also included in the compound formation, right? So these are the three general reactions. This is important, right? First is the enzymatic oxidation of materials. That what do you mean by enzymatic oxidation? What do you mean by enzymatic oxidation? What is needed for the enzymatic oxidation here? Again. Yeah, enzymes. How the enzymes are produced? Yes, microorganisms produce the enzymes and they do the degradation, right? So that is the meaning of this. Microorganism produce the enzymes. So they are through the enzymatic oxidation of materials that leaves the carbon dioxide, water, heat as the major product. And then from that, essential elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, and the sulfur are released, or they may be immobilized by the series of specific reactions. So these reactions are unique for each element. And then production of compounds that is resistant to the microbial action. So that is the end product. So the humus, right? So the humus is resistant for the microbial action, right? So that is a stable one. No more microbial actions in the humus, right? So that is the meaning of the formation of humus here. Compounds resistant to the microbial actions are formed either from the compounds in the original plant tissues or by the microbial synthesis. So each of these reactions has this great practical significances in the organic matter decomposition. Right. Now we'll move to the question. 2020 AG 077.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Tell me, what are the general three reactions take place when you add the organic materials to the soil? Zero. What is your number, please? This number I call now 077, right? When I ask the questions, you are escaping somehow. 011.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, what will happen when you add the organic materials to the soil?
Enzymatic oxidation, which means microorganisms produce enzyme of material that leaves carbon dioxide, water, heat as major products. The second one, essential elements, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur are released or immobilized by a series of specific reactions relatively unique for each elements. Third one is compounds resistant to microbial actions are formed either for compounds in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. 012. 012. From the beginning, I'm telling you, whenever I call the number, if the person is not responding me, definitely I will put that person is absent for the particular lectures, right? Okay. 010.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me, what are the reactions take place?
First, the enzymatic oxidation will take place.
Okay.
Then immobilization or demineralization is take placing.
Immobilization or demineralization. So what is the difference for immobilization and demineralization? Both are same, no? immobilization and the demineralization.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Then by that is forming the stable compound, which means the humus.
Okay. And zero 060. Zero 060.
Yes, madam.
Yes. Tell me, what are the reactions take place? What are the reactions take place?
Enzyme oxidation of material.
Okay.
Essential element nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfurs are released.
Okay.
Third one, components resistant to microbial action.
Okay. So what is that? What is the compound? What is the name of the compound?
Organic plant disease.
What is the compound name? Name of the compound. That is the humus, right? Stable compound. Right. Okay, good. Now we'll look at about the organic decay. Right. This graph also very much important, right? So I'm giving you the tips for the final exam as well, right here. The organic matter important. So among the organic important, anytime organic decay, right? That is also important, right? Here you can see the graph illustrates how the organic matter decomposition happens in the soil, right? You know, when you just assume to the marginal land, when you add the fresh residues, fresh organic residues to the soil. So what is happening is, so at the beginning, the microorganism starts to consume the easily degradable organic materials. Right? Understand that? Just assume to the marginal land when you add the fresh organic residues, right? So the microorganisms which can consume easily degradable organic material starts to proliferate, starts to grow there. What are the easily degradable organic compounds? What are these? Sugars, starch, and the simple proteins. So when you add the organic residues, but some microorganisms, they may consume the sugar, starch, and the simple proteins, and they may proliferate well, right? So that is how here the organisms number and the rate of release of carbon dioxide and the water increase. So when you consume that one, you know the first, what is the first reaction happens? What is the first reaction? Oxidation. So they produce the carbon dioxide and the water. Right? So from that you can tell that the organisms are proliferating by measuring the carbon dioxide. Understand that? So at the peak time, so the active microorganisms may be high here. Right? Understand that?
Yes.
Up to this, are you all clear? When you add the fresh residues to the soil, so the easily degradable compounds starts to degrade, the microorganism starts to proliferate, and they may increase suddenly. So that may be exhibited through the organism's number and the rate of releases of carbon dioxide and the water. Right? When the easily degradable material finished, completed in the organic materials, so what will happen to that microorganisms? So the number of microorganisms starts to decline. Understand that? Understand that? Starts to decline. At the meantime, here you can see when the organisms number increase, so what will happen? The third reaction. What will happen?
Production of humus.
Yes, compounds may be produced. So that may be produced from the original plant tissues. At the meantime, they may be produced through the microorganisms as well. Understand that?
Yes.
So they may increase the compounds, and here you can see, so the new humus level may increase. This is the old humus level, right? So the new humus level may increase because when the microorganisms activity starts to increase, the compounds may be produced from the original tissue materials, or maybe through the synthesis of the microorganisms. So the soil humus level may start to increase, and you can see the new humus level here, right? So at the meantime, residues may be well humified. Understand this graph?
Yes, ma'am.
Here, assume a situation where the no readily decomposable materials are present in the soil, and where the microbial number and the activity are low here. Sorry. Right here. Microbial activity and the number are low. Right? And when an abundance of fresh or the decomposable tissue is added, the organisms promptly attack and easily decomposable materials, and the number of microbes suddenly increase dramatically. Right? So when you add the fresh residues, microbial activity suddenly increase dramatically. Why? Because of they consume the easily degradable organic materials. Understand? And then soon microbial activity is at peak. So at which energy being liberated rapidly, and the carbon dioxide is formed in large quantities as a new organic compound synthesized by the microorganisms. Here, see. Organic when the microbial activity is at peak, so the carbon dioxide is released and the water also released. At the meantime, the compounds are produced from the original tissues as well as the microbial synthesis. And then general purpose decay bacteria, fungi, and the actinomycetes are fully active and are decomposing and synthesizing at the same time. Here, right? General purpose microorganisms are fully active and they may be decomposed and produce the new compounds. At the height of the microbial activity, even the original soil organic matter is subjected to some breakdown. So as soon as the easily decomposable food is exhausted, microorganism numbers begins to decline. So when the easily degradable material is exhausted, the microorganism number starts to decline, right? A further reaction is in available food and energy, the microbial activity continue to decline. And then general purpose soil organisms again sink back to the cooperative quinces, and here you see that. Okay, so it comes to the normal level. This is associated with the release of simple products such as nitrates and the sulfates, right? And the organic matter now remaining is mostly heterogeneous. Here you can see that. So this is the heterogeneous one. This is the humus. So what are the characteristics of humus? What are the characteristics of humus? It cannot be degraded further. It is resistant to the degradation. And it's the dark color one. And it is the powerhouse of the nutrients. Right? Okay. The organic matter now remaining is mostly dark, heterogeneous colloidal mass of resistant and newly synthesized compounds, usually referred to as the humus. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts up to this? Any of you, can you please explain this graph? Otherwise, I will call the number. 2020 AG065.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please explain this?
Initially, we had the waste metals into the soil. Then the microbes level will be increased. So the graph will increase to the high peak. Then the easily decomposable materials forms. Then the graph decrease. From this process, the CO, carbon dioxide, water, heat will
So
be
you
released.
mean, what do you mean by graph decrease and increase? So the microbial number increase dramatically at the meter once it reaches the peak level. So it will consume all the easily degradable materials, and when they fully exhausted, so the number of microorganisms starts to decay. That is how you have to elaborate, right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
063.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please explain the graph? Zero 068.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you?
First, the easily decomposing organic matters are consumed by the organic matter. When it's consumed, microorganism number is increased. When it increase, the releasing of carbon dioxide and water is releasing level is increased. In the peak point, the activity of the microorganism is high. End of the easily consuming
At that time, what will happen?
organic matter is
So when the
after
microorganisms
microorganism consumed the original material of the organic matter,
wait,
it is decay by.
Wait, please. When the microorganisms are at peak, what will happen?
Their microorganism number is low. Microorganism numbers.
So what will happen to the the organic materials and the
Microorganism number is low.
No. Any of you, please? 075. AG075.
Yes, ma'am.
So what will happen when the microbial activity is at peak?
In that point, the easily decomposed materials are decomposed by the organisms.
Yes. So that may produce the compounds from the original tissues or maybe from synthesized by the microorganisms.
Yes.
Okay. Then continue.
Then the
Continue.
I can't understand.
You cannot understand. That means, do I need to explain further?
Yes, ma'am, I got the point. When the peak point is high, I don't know why the red line is going down.
So that means the compounds in the original tissue starts to degrade, right? So therefore it produces the new humus. Understand that? This is the compounds in the original tissue that it starts to degrade, that may produce the carbon dioxide and the water. So that may, at the meantime, so the synthetic new compounds also synthesize. Therefore, the amount is decreasing, but the humus level is increasing. Understand? Now.
Okay.
Yes. So see here, this is the compounds in the original tissues, right? So that is also starts to degrade. Okay, when the organisms at peak level, these compounds also starts to degrade. Therefore, the carbon dioxide and the water may release. At the meantime, the new synthesis also produced. So that is what the organic soil humus level is increasing here. But the organic compounds in the original tissue starts to decline. Ultimately, it producing the new humus level here. Are you clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can read this sentence and refer the graph, then you can easily understand that, right? And here see the organic matter decomposition during the each cycle of degradation. About two-thirds of the organic carbon is used for the energy and released as carbon dioxide. Okay, two-thirds is used as the energy and released as the carbon dioxide. During the each cycle of degradation, about one-third of the organic carbon is used to build up the microbial tissues, right? Bacteria, fungi, and the soil organic matter, and or become part of the soil organic matter, right? So here you can say that degradation of organic material involves the important in a balance between the carbon and the nitrogen in the materials being degraded, right? We will see the influences of soil organic matter and on the soil properties, right? It affects on the soil color. So when the organic matter is high in the soil, so the color may be brown to black color. And influence on the physical properties, granulation encouraged, plasticity cohesion reduced, water holding capacity increased. And then effects on the CEC 2 to 30 times as great as mineral colloids accounts for 30 to 90% of absorbing power of the mineral soil. So this is the reason for increasing the soil cation exchange capacity by the soil organic matter. So that is for the charges may increase, right? So one is the effect on the color, influence of the physical properties through the granulation. Plasticity cohesion reduced, water holding capacity increased, and the effect on CEC, and then supply and the availability of nutrients. Easily replaceable cations may be present in the soil organic matter. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and the sulfur held in the soil organic forms may be mineralized, and the plant may take up these nutrients. Extraction of elements from the minerals by the acid humus. Right? And then we have to discuss about the carbon-nitrogen ratio in the decomposition. Right? So that hopefully we will discuss in the next class, right? So it is somewhat interesting and difficult to understand. So we will discuss in the next class, right? Are you all clear up to this?
Yes.
In summary, you have to know about what is soil organic matter, and what are the importance of soil organic matter and how the soil organic matter affects on the soil properties, and then organic decay, right? So these are very much important, and the general reactions take place in the when you add the organic materials to the soil, right? This is important. And another much important point is the carbon nitrogen ratio and the decomposition. That is also very much important, that we will discuss in the next class, right? Okay, now you all can leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.